everyone. This is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and I am live tonight, Thursday Night Live. One of my favorite things to do of all times is to go live and get connected to all of y'all. We are going to be talking about Clairsentives tonight. I think I was supposed to talk about like grief and families and stuff like that. And I know that that's really important. I will replan that for another time, but this is one that's really been totally affecting so many people, so many clients, so many people calling and letting me know like, oh my gosh, I am overwhelmed with disability right now and just kind of really just overwhelmed with it. So I wanted to talk about this and kind of get you a little bit deeper insight, because it still has a lot to do with grief as well, because a lot of people during this time of year really go through a grieving process. And sometimes it's not necessarily you've lost a loved one at this time of year. Sometimes it's someone that you've lost at a different time of year, but this is like your first Christmas without them, or your second Christmas without them, or your third Christmas without them. And you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could pick up the phone and call them, or I wish I could like let them know that I'm thinking about that. Hi, Miss Rebecca. Hi, TC. I'm excited that y'all are with me. Let me know if you are a clairsensitive. I think it's one of those, most people have some of the abilities of clairsensitive, and really clairsensitive just translates out to kind of like clear feeling. And it's really defined by the ability to pick up like feelings, moods, sensations, and emotions. And this can be from anywhere. This can be from a person, a place, ground, a building, a location, kind of like anywhere. If you've been to a concert and they're not having a concert there, and you kind of feel the energy kind of in that space, that can be overwhelming for us as well, even if they're not having a concert right then and there. Hi, Miss Sandra. So clairsensitives really are kind of like an antenna that's just out there, and we kind of pick up everything that everybody else is going through. So you could be at a restaurant and the table next to you is, having a heated discussion about something, and you may feel stressed. You may be like overwhelmed with the energy, even though you're not part of what's going on. You're not part of their discussion at all. You just feel like, oh my gosh, I can feel someone's energy of being like overwhelmed or shut down, or all of this. So it's kind of like we're really aware of our feelings. But a lot of times when we kind of open up this gift, or it kind of opens up in our life, a lot of times the gift is coming in, but we don't realize it's opposite from us, or it's someone else's energy. And I think that really is where it can overwhelm us a lot, because all of a sudden we are kind of like feeling things, and we think, oh, all of a sudden I'm getting overwhelmed. Maybe it's the waitress, maybe it's the person, that I'm talking to, or whatever else, like they're agitating my energy. And so a lot of times we're not looking at outside sources of like, where is the energy coming from? We think it's us. And a lot of times that can be totally overwhelming. It can be overwhelming for us. It can be overwhelming for the people that are with us, because our moods can change on a dime. Literally, we can be happy-go-lucky and everything is going our way and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, this is like crazy energy and just overwhelming, right? Robin is like all the time. Yes. And a lot of times as a child or young person, I didn't realize it was someone else's energy. And I think that's where it can really like foul us up a lot. So it's kind of like we thought we were clear, or we thought we were like, it's just our energy, but then we didn't realize like, wow, this came in from someone else. And a lot of times, especially I think as a young teenager moving into my 20s, I always thought it was me. And I just felt like I had, like 50 arms or whatever else. Like I felt like a total, like I can't coordinate all of this. And I didn't realize that it wasn't me. I just felt the energy, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel completely overwhelmed. It's one of those, oh, hi, Teresa. Yay, you're just like me. There's not too many of us in the world. It's one of those, let me know how y'all are, like how y'all deal with some of this. Cause I think it's really like literally clairsensitive is like literally having an antenna that never turns off until you learn how to shut it off for yourself. And everybody has a different way of dealing with that and kind of like working through that in some type of like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this was already kind of like our energy, or I didn't realize this was something that was going on. And I think that's kind of one of the energies that can overwhelm us a lot. So I think kind of crazy, that can be like one that just kind of like overwhelms us. And then we don't know how to get back to where it was calm, cool, and collected. So it's like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. So this is like, oh my gosh. So clairsensitives kind of like are able to kind of clear access other people's feelings and energies. And a lot of times we don't feel like we're purposely doing it. We're just like picking up what's coming off of them. And this is where I kind of call it kind of the if you ever watch the Peanuts gang and like the little kid Pigpen, I just love Pigpen. He is adorable, but he always had like that dust coming off of him, constantly circulating energy out. And so I realized like after a while, like, oh my gosh, that's everybody. All of us are doing that, constantly circling our energy out. But the ones that are clairsensitive, we pick up on that. So then we get overwhelmed with everybody else's energy, and we're like, oh my gosh, somebody's energy of that can spread out from themselves anywhere from 2 to 6 feet. So anytime we're within 6 feet of somebody, it can overwhelm us. Sometimes if people have really easy energy or very calm energy, it's only like a couple of feet out from them. But if they have really big energy, or they're kind of like going on stage, or they're kind of like amping up their energy, that energy can stick out like 6 feet on each side of them. So everybody else around them feels overwhelmed by their energy. Let's see. This can really happen right in front of us. A lot of times having clairsensitive abilities also implies that someone can access information on a psychic level. A lot of times we will pick up feelings of, like I said, being overwhelmed, being, I don't know, kind of like, angry, sad, upset, all of those things. And a lot of times it's like, we didn't feel that like 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden we're feeling this now. And like, so wait, all of a sudden, like when you really think about it, it's like, how could my energy change that fast? How could it change that fast on a dime? What's wrong, or how are we dealing with this? So it's kind of like, that's when you're kind of like one of your clues of like, how fast did my energy change? Did something come into me and change my energy right away? So while being empathetic for other people and kind of like feeling that energy, a lot of times when someone's sharing their energy, a lot of times we've got to really protect our energy, because it's one of those, like someone's telling us, so and so passed in my family, my uncle, my aunt passed in my family, or whatever else. And as they're sharing that, we may have that pull out grief in us. And so we're crying as much as them. And you're like, wait, this isn't my aunt or my uncle. And that's where, like, oh, I forgot to kind of close off their energy or protect myself. You can still hear their side of it. You can still connect with them in some way, yet you don't have to be in the sadness with them. You don't have to be right there overwhelming yourself at any point, because that can just be like, oh my goodness. And kind of really thinking about this, things that take us a step further is kind of like, what feelings are we feeling and who are we around? And a lot of times it's someone, like I said, it's someone within 6 feet of us. Hey, Miss Gracetta. And so it's kind of like, the best way to put it is, and I'm going to ask y'all this, like, what does it feel like to be a clairsensitive? How would you explain that to someone else? Because I've been like, how do I explain this to somebody else? Like, how do I get those words out to tell someone, like, we kind of feel everything. We feel energy, we feel sadness, we can feel connected to people, we can feel disconnected from people. We feel all of this all the time. And a lot of times it's hard to explain it to someone else. Like, I feel their sadness as much as I feel my own, or I feel their grief as much as I feel my own. And so this is one of those that can be like, we're highly sensitive. We can even pick up on people's thoughts, their feelings, and their energy without them ever saying a word. It doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad, or oh my gosh, this happened to me. It can just be around their energy can really influence us. Um, like I said, a lot of times, like telling people to keep their energy cleansed, their energy fields cleansed, can ensure that we don't pick up burdens or energy from other people. And that's probably the best thing I can teach a clairsensitive is keeping your energy clear and cleansed and easy will make it easier, because once you know what your energy feels like 100% cleansed without anybody else connecting to you, then when someone connects in, it's like, wait, something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. Someone's connected to my energy. And that can really give you a great insight to really like talking about that. Like, wow, I can really feel someone else's energy connecting with me, because all of a sudden my mood changed. All of a sudden I felt sad. All of a sudden I felt overwhelmed. Or sometimes like I felt like I couldn't get any words out, or I wasn't able to communicate with well with others. So this can be like, wow, this can be a crazy gift. But once you understand it, it gets so much easier. I will tell you that a lot of times clairsensitives may notice their gifts, and it's kind of like, see, these are some of the signs. So one of them is you are always aware of the energies around you, just kind of like wherever you're at. If someone's having tension somewhere or upset, you can feel that energy right away. So it's like, whoa, here we go. A lot of times, even as young people, people will describe us as highly sensitive or super sensitive. And a lot of times, like now that we kind of understand the energy a little bit more, sometimes people say we're very empathic. And so that kind of like, that's interesting. Another one is I found is kind of like being very picky who I hang out with. Who else is like that? It's like, when I'm around someone's energy, and if I've been around their energy for a period of time, and I can kind of feel like their energy overwhelming me or constantly kind of attacking me, which will kind of usually note that someone around me is an energy vampire. And I'm going to explain energy vampires in a little bit. So kind of just give me a minute on that one. The next one is it's hard for you to be in spaces that hold heavy energy. Being in places where concerts have been, where there's been a lot of people in a recent period of time, that can be overwhelming. Going to battlefields can be overwhelming, that heavy energy there. Places where like prisons, don't even get me started on going to the hospital. Like, oh my gosh, like every ghost there just like shows up and wants to be my best friend. It gets so overwhelming in hospitals. I will tell you that any place that has like a heavy energy about it, like I said, where any place people have died, passed away, been in prison, had that energy around them, it's one of those, it overwhelms our systems pretty quickly. I will say kind of the next one is it's easier for you to tell the people that are close to you have had like a bad day, a good day. And it's not like telling you like, oh, they're smiling today, so I know they're having a great day. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just like being around their energy. You can pick up on, do they feel stressed? Do they feel okay? Do they not feel okay? Do they feel overwhelmed? And it may not be words that they're really telling everybody else, but we're feeling it. I will say another sign is empathy is your strong suit. We are usually very compassionate. We don't hesitate to help other people work through their healing, but that's where we can kind of get into that, where a lot of times like that person will end up being like an energy vampire. Like they kind of take our good energy and give us back their kind of like their negative energy. I'm going to explain that a little bit. Next is a lot of times it's easy to tell when people are telling a lie or telling the truth. A lot of times when someone is talking to me and telling me something, I may not say anything, but I can tell you, I know it's when it's a lie. I can tell you what it feels like. It feels differently. The energy has that like a heaviness to it when it comes in and it's a lie, even if it's even like a crazy kind of lie. So even if you were to just say, oh, on Wednesday, I went to the grocery store, but it was really Tuesday. So even if it's kind of like a crazy kind of lie, like you didn't lie on purpose, it was just kind of like, oh, I forgot what day I went. that can come in as a lie. And so you have to kind of be like, am I going to call this person on it, or it's okay to kind of let this person go on it? So it's kind of that kind of interesting. I will tell you, many people that are clairsentives do avoid shopping in thrift stores, antique stores, flea markets, because the energy of the items there, each of the items there have this heaviness energy, or it can be kind of still the energy from the previous owner. So unless you know how to cleanse off each item, sometimes I tell people, like, don't buy it. If you don't know how to cleanse it, don't buy it. Kind of the next one is kind of like, the more a clairsensitive meditates and center themselves, it's easier for your body to respond to energies that are around you constantly. And it usually gives you a much better sense of like who you are and where you need to go in your life, the more you meditate. So a lot of times my clairsentives like take to meditation really fast, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't been doing this my whole life. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Kind of the next kind of sign is you usually are plagued with like random emotional mood swings. Hey, Miss Tina, mood swings usually before you learn how to cleanse off other people's energy. You'll get kind of like those quick mood swings for people. So it's kind of like, wait, oh my gosh, where did this go? The next one, clairsentives can easily connect to animals. And a lot of times they feel better with animal energy than they do people energy. That's me. I will guarantee you, I will sit with an animal any day of the week compared to sometimes sitting with a person, because that person's energy usually has a lot of negative energy, where an animal just usually has that super positive way to go energy. Just like, wow, this is amazing. Next is you can easily pick up tense situations, and usually you can try to avoid them. I often tell my students, when you go into something where it kind of like the energy feels tense or kind of like overwhelming, it's like, go back to where it felt good. Go back, whatever that is, like go back outside, go back to your car, go back to wherever it is, to that energy feels like, wow, this is amazing. This is something that we can really do. Also, clairsentives can physically and emotionally pick up the feelings and pains from other people. So a lot of times, like when I was younger, people would tell me like, oh my gosh, I hurt my knee and it hurt so bad. And all of a sudden my knee would start to hurt. And I'm just like, I'm picking up like this energy with it and it hurts, but I didn't do anything to hurt my knee. It's their energy affecting me as well. So that's one of those amazing ones. Let's see. You may have some spiritual experiences that you can't explain. A lot of times, clairsensitives feel ghosts, feel angels, feel archangels, that sort of thing. And you'll have a lot of times like a physical response when you connect with angels or archangels energy. I have a client that cries every time. I have a client that gets very emotional. I have clients that just kind of get overwhelmed with other people's energy or spiritual energies when angels or guides or energy from the other side, ghosts kind of come in. It's one of those, like, it can really change your energy very quickly. I will tell you that my last one is kind of like your energy shifts really, really quickly. So a lot of times, like, you'll be happy-go-lucky and then all of a sudden you feel sad, or you're really, really sad and then all of a sudden you get happy-go-lucky energy. That means that you got someone else's energy on you. So that's kind of one of those, okay, interesting. Probably the worst thing about being a clairsensitive. Here you go. Energy vampires. Energy vampires are people, and they can be friends, family members, coworkers, that literally like zap your energy. And a lot of times when you are around an energy vampire, you will, like, when they leave your presence, like if y'all had lunch together, if y'all get together for lunch, after lunch, you're feeling drained. You're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm exhausted. I've literally had energy vampires near me that when they leave, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a nap. I'm like literally ready to lay down on the floor. And usually they want to hang around, and they really, a lot of times they don't really draw too much attention to them. too much because they don't want you to get overwhelmed with their energy. They want to be like taking that good energy from you and kind of throwing that negative energy at you. And it's not a conscious thought, it's an unconscious thought. So it's not like they're doing it. Usually it's, I will say 90% of the time, it's not something they're aware of. It's something that they're doing and they did not realize that they were doing this to you. A lot of times, energy vampires will be quietly reserved. They'll be nice, accommodating, charming, or even charismatic with their gifts because they want to stay around other people to kind of dump that negative energy while they pick up the good energy. One of the things that you may note, like when you know, when you don't know if someone's like an energy vampire around them, note how you felt before you met them, and then like how do you feel after leaving them? Like if you're walking away from the situation or you met someone new and you're walking away, like how does your energy feel differently? That's going to tell you. But a lot of times energy vampires will leave you with energy like annoyed. You'll feel indifferent, kind of like I'm just so out of it, I don't even know what I'm feeling. You'll feel tired, fatigued, stressed, tense, anxious, or even jealous. And you're like, I'm not a jealous person, so why do I feel jealous? Like, what's going on? Energy vampires seem to kind of require to connect to clairsentives. Anytime that their life is going like bad or dramatic or anything else, they kind of show up and they kind of drop their kind of like, let me tell you what my problems are. Let me tell you what's going on with me. And a lot of times they always have problems because they're kind of always pulling that negative side and giving it to everybody else. So then everybody around them kind of gets annoyed and stressed out. And so then it's like, I don't know why everybody's mad at me. Well, because you're taking my good energy and you're leaving me with your nasty energy. So that's not good. One of the things I get asked this quite a lot is whenever I do a video on like planetary energies, why do I always put in the pre-shadow time, the regular retrograde time, and the post-shadow time? And I do this because most clairsentives are affected by planetary energies, and they could be affected sometimes in the pre-shadow energy. They'll like, as soon as that planet goes into retrograde or starts in that pre-shadow energy, they are feeling it right off the bat. Like, oh my gosh, they're having it overwhelmed very, very quickly. And a lot of times, like they may feel it the whole time, the pre-shadow, the full retrograde, and then all the way into the post-shadow energy on this. So that can be totally overwhelming. If y'all have any questions about clairsensitive, let me know. I will tell you. I will answer some questions. I've got a little bit more to talk about, and then we're going to be talking. I'll be answering your questions. One of the things that I have found for myself is I get affected even before certain planets go into retrograde. So literally, I think December 3rd, Mercury went into retrograde, went into pre-shadow energy. And I have felt that for over a month. So that's what I'm saying is like, I feel it before everybody else I know feels it. There's one person that feels it as soon as I do, but that is like, we're the rare kind. Usually as soon as it goes into pre-shadow energy, all the clairsensitives that are really sensitive are going like, oh my gosh, I can really feel it. That is kind of one of those amazing energies. I'll get to your question in a second, Moni. Okay. Usually clairsensitives are affected longer than other people's like gifts and abilities. Like this is something that we've been usually affected by. Like who was it? Robin was saying earlier, like she was affected by this as a child. A lot of us really didn't understand it as children, but we thinking about it like, wow, now that I understand it, I realize I was being affected by this for my whole life or for a long, long period of time. Others may be affected by certain planets going into retrograde. I will tell you, most clairsensitives are, like I said, pre-shadow, full retrograde, and into post-shadow. And usually which planets really affect you the most is the best way to put it is you need to do a natal chart and kind of find out which planets are most affecting you. That will tell you so much information. I have not Mars. I have Mars and Mercury really high on my chart, and so when they go into retrograde, I am affected more than most. So it's just kind of one of those. Okay, here we go. Post your questions. I'll get to those in just a second. Let's see. I usually, like I said, people with clairsensitive issues start feeling planetary energies before everybody else. One of the signs that could give you a sign that you might be a clairsensitive, if you're kind of like, wait, this kind of sounds familiar. Usually clairsensitives, if they don't even realize it, they will go into jobs or careers that really, really open up their clairsensitive side. So you might be a counselor. You might be, actually I have a couple of political advisors as my clients, because it's kind of, they know, kind of like can read the energy of like when the person they're representing needs to be silent or needs to be informed or be able to talk about something like, this is what you really need to be saying and not this over here. And people are like, really? And I'm like, yeah, that's what you need to be talking about. And they'll advise that person on it. And they're like, oh my gosh, it was the perfect thing to say at the perfect time. I will tell you, a lot of times, medical doctors, because they'll kind of almost pick up on the feelings, not necessarily, and the emotions of someone before like something is going on. Like they're kind of like, something's not right in their energy, even if nothing else is telling them, even if all the data, all the lab work is telling them something different. They're like, I'm trusting my instincts more than anything else. It's one of those, I will tell you that all of a sudden, actually people that are usually drivers, I see this a lot with truck drivers, usually have gut feelings before something happens, before an accident happens. They'll get that gut feeling of like they've got to get off the road, or they need to stop for a break, or they all of a sudden something comes up and they're kind of like, okay, I don't know why, but I have to get off the road. And they'll get off the road, and then they'll find out later there was an accident kind of in front of where they were. Detectives, police detectives are usually have a lot of clairsensitive gifts as well, because they're going on instinct. Like, I think this is the person that did it and not this one. They're kind of going on that. They're kind of like reading the people's energy more than anything else. And the one that I think is really kind of funny, because it really happened to my daughter and I, is when either, when mom and dad have a little baby, a lot of times like the clairsensitive will really connect to the baby's energy. And a lot of times that baby doesn't even really have to tell you like, my diaper is dirty, or I'm hungry, or cry, or whatever else. A lot of times, like, boom, they are already like, the parent is already connecting to that energy. Like, I'm already understanding like there's something wrong with the diaper area. The baby is hungry, or the baby has to burp. And a lot of times people are like, well, how do you know that? And it's not necessarily the baby told you, you're picking up on it kind of in that energy, that area. So, okay. So Monique is asking kind of like, how does tonight's moon affect clairsensitives? I will tell you, moon energy really affects clairsensitives a lot. The moon is really an emotional energy. It's kind of like when we connect, or when we're out in the moon. And I will tell you, there's a difference. If I don't get out in moon energy, if I don't ever see the moon up in the sky, it doesn't affect me near as much. As long as I'm kind of like under the roof, it'll keep me more protected. If I get out in moon ray energy, like, and I can feel it, it will affect me so much. And a lot of times that's when I have to kind of like look up, and I've done this for years. I will start to look up what sign the moon is in, and what should I do, or how should I do it. Now I do my own moonology videos now, because it's really important to understand how not only the moon is affecting you because of what phase it's in, but also what sign it's in. That is really important to clairsensitives, because it will really affect us kind of that kind of energy kind of thing. Okay, so Sharon is asking, when I meet people and start talking to them, they will open up and tell me their life stories. This has been happening to me since I was young. Do they recognize me as a clairsensitive? A lot of times they do, and a lot of times they will come up to people. I was at the grocery store today, and the little girl that her mom and her got in line behind me, literally we started having a conversation, and I'm having this conversation with like a 7 or 8 year old little girl. She was adorable, just adorable, I will tell you that. But it's one of those, like, clairsensitive energy will draw little kids to us. People will say hi to us all the time, that sort of thing. So a lot of times, like, people are drawn to our energy and they may not even know why at all. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of cards. This is ideas and inspirations. And I will tell you that kind of really what's important about ideas and inspiration is when you have that first thought of like, I think this person might be an energy vampire. Believe it and act as if they are, so you can protect your energy right off the bat. Don't kind of wait for, let me decide later on. No. Step into protecting your energy as quickly as you possibly can. The next one is manifestation. Usually clairsensitives are really good at manifesting energy. We're really good at manifesting solutions to problems, or kind of out thinking, or kind of, I don't want to say in a bad way, but kind of like we're already kind of like, wow, this is amazing. This is what we have to teach everybody. Or their energy is already kind of manifesting things with just our energy. Our insight is doing that before us. Our spiritual growth, literally, as our spiritual gifts grow, so will your clairsensitive gift, and it will grow exponentially as everything else in your abilities start to grow. It will do it. And there are times when it is like just a growing season. You will hit a time. Sometimes it can be planetary energies. Sometimes Uranus can do that with us. Sometimes Mercury can do that with us. Venus can do that as well. And all of a sudden your gifts and abilities will just like go through a growth spurt, and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I deal with this? And it's one of those, everything else will kind of come up and match it, but make sure you're keeping your energy protected as well. New love. I think kind of clairsensitives also kind of bring in new love energy very quickly, and it can be any kind. It doesn't have to be a mate or anything else. We can kind of draw in things that we love to connect to, things that we love to have with us, that sort of thing. So I think that's kind of interesting. This might be my last one, but if you're watching this after the fact, if you are watching this and still have some questions, make sure you post them. I will get to them and I will answer all of your questions about being a clairsensitive. Actually, I love this card. Trust. If you resonated with anything I said tonight, trust that you're a clairsensitive. Maybe not the strongest clairsensitive in the world, but you're still a clairsensitive in the world. And you have got to trust your abilities. You've got to trust when you get that sign or that signal that you need to keep your energy protected, or you need to move away from somebody, whatever it is. Trust the energy that you're getting. Trust that sign. Trust what you're getting, because it is not lying to you. It is not anything else. I guarantee you it is something that's really, really important for you to learn how to trust this energy. Okay. I thank y'all so much for joining me tonight, and I know that we'll be talking again soon. Y'all have a great night.